is 95%, which means you've got less than about 5% of your app that you've got to change to carbonize it. And matter of fact, we've had developers tell us, oh my God, thank you, I didn't know that garbage was still in there. So the carbon data has been a real tool and is still the primary tool to evaluate how much work there's going to be to do with your app, and we've been incredibly pleased with the results. And lastly, Mac OS X is going to come with what was formerly called Yellow Box. We are renaming it to Cocoa. We're renaming it to Cocoa because in addition to its Objective-C APIs, we have added full Java APIs on top of Cocoa so that you can write your app totally in Java now and get incredibly great performance on top of Cocoa. And so Cocoa is for writing new object-oriented Java apps. And all three of these application environments coexist together on Mac OS X on top of this very powerful foundation of Quartz and Darwin. And you may have different apps running one in each.
In fact, we've architected the system such that much of the implementation of Carbon and Cocoa is shared between the two, not including just the graphics layer, but also higher level toolbox type code to make it very compatible and make them interoperate really well.
Now, we believe in something. Ever since Avi and I started working together so long ago, when we were young, we believe that you got to eat your own dog food. And what that means is, if we're going to be developing new APIs for you, we have to be developing for them first. We have to find out if they really do serve the needs of the developers by being a developer ourselves of applications. And so, in Mac OS X, we're not developing anything for Classic. We know that works.
There's plenty of stuff that we already run and verify, right. So we're covered there, no problem.
We are developing several apps in Carbon, but the biggest of those is a brand new Finder. And believe me, a Finder is a wonderful test case for Carbon. And then, on top of Cocoa, we're developing a wonderful app as well. Matter of fact, several, but one in particular we want to highlight today. We believe that in these OSs, communication is one of the key parts, one of the key things our customers are doing. And so we believe email is really, really important. And Mac OS X will include a great email client right in the operating system. And so among the many apps we're writing as part of the system, we'd like to highlight the new Finder and the new Mail for you today to show you not only how far we've come, but that we are indeed eating our own dog food. So,
let's get Phil back up here. Last time, Phil.
Another demo, another OS. This is really cool. To actually have Mac OS X client system to be able to demo to you and to show off some of the applications we're starting to build on top of Carbon and Cocoa and the things we're able to do. It's a lot of fun. I have here on my machine, again, Mac OS X, the same demo machine as before. And now, along with having our desktop, the ability to bring up a really cool Finder, and some of you who have worked with Next will recognize some of these great features. So we'll launch the Finder app. Performance will be tuned later. And now what you'll see is a very simple and powerful view of all my folders, my machines. Now to begin with, here we are on our G3. Now our G3 has attached to it a hard drive, in fact 2 of them, and of course is plugged into the network. So now there's one easy way to see that. Going through choosers and older ways, you can actually see it right here through your Finder.
In other words, let me just take a brief moment to explain this. This is really important. When we did the original Mac, there wasn't a network. We put in this thing that became Apple Talk so we could share a printer. And so the Finder had no notion of anything beyond the walls of the plastic of the machine, except for this one piece of code called the chooser, which was originally invented for choosing the printer, if you had more than one printer on the net. That paradigm, Mac has been stuck in that paradigm since 1984, of an island and a chooser to go outside and choose resources, and they're two completely different things. And what we are doing here is integrating them together. Whether you're working with stuff in your own file system or whether you're working with stuff on a network file system, they should look and behave exactly the same. And the fact that something happens to be on your local machine is just circumstance.
So now when I click on one of these items, Carbon is an HFS plus hard drive volume. You see the drive above here, and you see all the contents within it. Really logical. My Macintosh hard drive in the system, that's a UFS volume. Yen works seamlessly together right inside here. You see the drive, you see everything in its contents. Now I click on the network, and I'm going into our local area network. You see a network icon, and I see people sitting here with machines in engineering, and in marketing, and in sales, and I am actually moving across the network. When we jump out to Ken Bereskin's machine, and he's got a public area here. Now, Ken is somebody I share a lot of these files with when we do all our 10 demos. So I may need to get back here. So I take Ken's home directory, and I place it up on an area right above, we call the shelf, and now it's there for whenever I want to get to it again later. Now, something subtle's just happened. As I drilled down across the network and looked for his home directory, you see it kept moving to the right. It kept adding columns. So I don't spawn multiple directories and windows all over my desktop that I have to option click and close. It just keeps moving and adding what I need. And now with the scroll bar, I can see where I've gone. How did I get there? It's all intuitive and right there in front of me. I can very quickly jump back to the network. It's just all one click away. Very intuitive and obvious. Now let me drill down inside my Carbon hard drive. I'm going to go into my hard drive. I'm going to go into my documents. I have a folder here on Alaska filled with pictures. When I click on a picture, I get a preview of it right there in the Finder. It's really fast, and I get info on it. So I don't have to do a get info command. I get information right there appropriate for that content, so I can get that whenever I need. Now here's this humpback whale JPEG. I may need that again later. So again, put it right up here on my shelf, and I have instant access to it whenever I want. And now let me jump to Ken's directory again. Click. I've just reached out over the network, gone down, gone into Ken's directory. Let's go back to that JPEG picture. Click. Right back there. Moved onto my hard drive, got there, and found it. It would take so many clicks and steps with Mac and Windows to get there.